Lionel Richie breaks silence on Brenda Harvey-Richie and Diane Alexander scandals. For decades, the name Lionel Richie conjured images of chart-topping ballads, smooth sophistication, and the soundtrack to millions of romances. Yet, behind the Hello and All Night Long hits lay a deep, personal wound: the infamous 1988 domestic incident involving his first wife, Brenda Harvey-Richie, and the woman who would become his second, Diane Alexander. Now, in his long-awaited, no-holds-barred memoir, Truly Richie has decided to confront that tragedy head-on, delivering a candid, moment-by-moment confession of the night he calls the scandal of my century. The purpose, he states, is not just to reveal, but to heal, offering a hard-won lesson on the chaotic intersection of fame and failure. The core revelation Richie makes is that the public narrative of a cheating star caught in the act missed the crucial context: his 18-year marriage to his college sweetheart, Brenda, was already in a state of crisis. Richie reveals the suffocating pressure of his global superstardom had bled into his home life, resulting in a necessary separation. What very few people knew was that Brenda and I were separated. I got a place at the beach and I was hiding out there, trying to be alone, trying to decompress somehow, because it was killing everyone. The emotional toll of this marital breakdown was heavy. Richie was dealing with the collapse of his partnership and a growing inability to trust the word love, which had become the currency of his professional life. He was seeking a respite, a quiet space away from the noise, but his fame made any private suffering impossible. Richie recounts that on the night of the incident in June 1988, he drove back from his beach hideaway into Los Angeles and stopped to see Diane Alexander, a young dancer he had met years prior on his Dancing on the Ceiling video set. Alexander was in an apartment house, not a private estate, which ironically made the ensuing confrontation all the more public. The arrival of Brenda was not a discreet discovery, it was a detonation. It's early in the morning when I drive into town, and I happen to stop to see Diane, who has an apartment in a house there. Shortly after I arrive, there is a knock at the door. When Alexander opened the door, Brenda was standing there. The peaceful morning instantly turned into a nightmare. There is a massive confrontation. Diane is in total shock and I'm trying to leave, to draw Brenda away. It's the most awful screaming match of life, and it's all in this small entryway. Richie describes the sickening helplessness he felt in the moment, asking himself, how do you physically move a tragedy that is exploding in front of you? The confrontation escalated beyond shouting. Richie's attempt to defuse the situation by leaving was unsuccessful. He hoped Brenda would follow, but she did not. Instead, she returned to the apartment and resumed the argument. The noise was so loud that neighbors called the police, officially transforming a private tragedy into a massive public scandal. The official records from the time paint a grim picture. Brenda was arrested and booked on charges including suspicion of corporal injury to a spouse and battery, following claims made by Richie to police that he was physically struck. Although the charges were ultimately dropped, the damage to Richie's carefully cultivated image as a romantic balladeer was immediate and profound. Looking back, Richie describes the entire ordeal as just raw and ugly and disastrous. It was, without question, the point of no return for his first marriage, which officially ended in 1993. The most poignant reflection, however, is on the heartbreak he caused. The scandal played out all over the press, but the most painful part, the tragedy of our lives, was that Brenda was heartbroken. And I get it. Ladies and gentlemen, I get it. He reflects on the intense media scrutiny of the time, noting that the tabloid sensation of 1988 would have been a catastrophic implosion in the age of Twitter and Instagram. The lack of immediate, viral sharing, he says, may have saved him from complete professional ruin. The book further details the deep depression that followed the divorce and the death of his father in 1990, compounded by a frightening vocal cord injury that almost silenced his voice forever. Richie credits his children adopted daughter Nicole Richie with Brenda, and later Miles and Sophia with Diane Alexander, for eventually helping him pull himself out of that dark period. By sharing the painful, hidden truths in Truly, Lionel Richie seeks to inspire others who have experienced personal failures, offering a roadmap for survival, even when the pressure of the world is at its absolute height.